Hello everyone, welcome to Astrology and Magic. My name is Revere. This week, we're looking at January 4th through the 13th. Happy 2025. Oh my goodness. We have a lot to get through for this time frame, for this time period. A lot of stuff is moving, so I have minimal notes in the description this week, and I'm gonna kind of rapid fire some stuff. We sometimes have a lot of room to sit with, how do I say this? We have a lot of room to sit with the in-depth and really get into it and be in like the earth of it. It's not gonna be the energy of our show today. It's gonna be a little bit different. We gotta get, again, a little bit of rapid fire. We got some things to get through. We're also looking at a little bit longer time frame because I wanted to get through all the way to the full moon in Cancer, okay? Because I did a reading for the collective, which is going to be on my YouTube. It's on the YouTube live replays if you're interested. I don't remember which reading it is. Okay, so Valid, I think it's the most recent one that I've done. And in that reading, there was information coming through about the end of a story that was like of glory. Could have been a little gory. Maybe was like your survival story coming to an end on that full moon in Cancer. Also, it's on the 13th, and 13 is associated with the mothers. I don't know about you, but I know about me, and the mothers have been hi, hey, hello all around recently. So let's get into the week. Let's see what's going on. Let's get into the time frame. Also, too, I do have the recorded episode for the astrology for 2025 coming out very soon, the special episode. There's one little thing I've got to fix in it, and then it will be up for everyone. So just a heads up on that. That's coming soon. I'm going to do a part 1 and a part 2. It's like an hour and a half, and I only got through like a little bit over half the next year. So there's going to be 2 different parts to that special episode edition. It is what it is. And there it is. Any other updates that are important or any other things that could be available from me to you, my books, my blog, if you want to get updates about the podcast and when it comes out, you can sign up for the blog. Beautiful. Everything's going to be in the description. So that's what it is. Let's get into the week. We start off, Venus just moved into Pisces. And now I missed this in the previous episode, so I apologize for that. I missed it. But we're going to talk about it still because it's still happening. It's still transit. It's still placement. Venus in Pisces. Oh my goodness. Talk about the start of some crazy Piscean stuff and some crazy Venus stuff, honestly, because we have a Venus retrograde that's coming up. It starts in March, okay? Venus retrograde starts March 2nd. We have some time before then, Valid, and also Venus retrograde, when it starts, it's in Aries and it's going to move back into Pisces. So everything that's happening with Venus and Pisces right now, pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention to what is the receiving and the giving on a spiritual essence. Giving and receiving on a spiritual lens. What do you have going on giving and receiving spiritually in your life? This is a time also to, if there's any, like, make sure that you're giving offerings around this time. Make sure that there's offerings being made. Pisces has a lot to do with sacrifice, and that is on a spiritual level. Making sacrifices spiritually, time, candles, food, honey, whatever it is that you offer, however it is that you offer, how you offer and what you offer during this Venus and Pisces time period. Venus will enter Aries on February 4th. So from now till then, any of the offerings that you're working in, any of the spiritual practices that you're like really working in, when Venus retrogrades back into Pisces, we're going to have, it's like a downpour. It's like a downpour. So ask for more, offer more, ask for 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 more. It's time. It's time to ask for more. Thank you for bringing that through. My goodness. Ask for more, offer more, and ask for more. Right now is the time too, because Venus retrograde is so associated with the drought. It's also associated with the feminine not being able to receive what it is in need of. And because it is not receiving what it is in need of, there has to be a restructure of what we are really actually worth. So if you're asking for more and offering for more around this time period while Venus is in Pisces, when that restructure, rethinking of things, when Venus moves into its retrograde comes through, more than likely there's not going to be as big of a drought, okay? What else about this needs to be said? There's not going to be as big of a drought. Pisces also has to do with the rain and like the rain cycle. So when I say a downpour, very associated with Pisces energy. You could find during this Venus time in Pisces that there's not a return of the offerings just yet. Venus retrograde, it does return the offerings to us. Our most recent Venus retrograde was about 1.5 years ago. It retrogrades about every 1.5 years. Whatever it is that you've really been working on the previous 1.5 years, especially because the South Node was in Libra, and that's ruled by Venus. So if there's any Venusian, feminine, mother, women, womb body, all that good stuff, okay? If there's any of that work that you've been refining and defining and figuring out your worth, understanding your worth, understanding who you are and what you want and what you're worth and how that plays into your life, what are you willing to accept? Maybe what boundaries are you willing to draw? How are you willing to balance the scales to make sure that that worth is really actually offered to you within your life, within your spaces, within your relationships, and within your personal time with yourself? Also very valid. Checking out any of the Libra placements you have in your chart where your Venus is, and also your second house, and then also any Taurus placements that could be applicable as well. So those spaces and places are going to be some things to look at if you've been refining and defining some things. So Venus and Pisces, wrap it up, bind it up, make the offerings that you need to, because we're almost through with this cycle. And when Venus retrograde comes through, that's a time of binding. It's a time of harvest. And also, again, sometimes the feminine receives things that it doesn't necessarily want, so that we can confront that we're worth more. And then we spend the next 1.5 years restructuring some things so that we can receive what it is that we are actually worth. So with Venus being in Pisces, make sure you make your offerings. What are you worth? What are the spirits worth? What are those relationships worth in your life? If there's anything that you're working towards, anything that you're transitioning right now, make sure that you're making your offerings in those areas. And because Saturn is in Pisces, it's going to be pretty important that you remain diligent and keep up with it. Make sure that you're on it. Make sure that if you're someone, wherever it is that you know you need to make offerings, make sure that you are doing it. Saturn does sometimes not really care if we are tired or if we are overworked, even in the spirit. So I revere it. Thanks, Saturn, for the lessons. May they be easy lessons if they need to be, and whether they're easy or hard, may they be lessons in love, truth, and free that help to elevate. Beautiful. So that's what we have going on, Venus in Pisces. January 4th through the 5th, we have the moon in Pisces, again with Saturn, Neptune, and Venus. This is an interesting moon. Our north node is about to move into Pisces. Again, we have a lot of Piscean stuff that's going to be activated over the next several months. So this is kind of cluing us into what is the old cycle and how are we shifting? What's the old cycle? How are we shifting? What's the new stuff? This moon could be a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more informative on a spiritual level, especially when it comes to your emotions. For me, this energy has been very freeing, honestly. It's kind of like I get to lift up out of this now. I get to be lifted up and out of this. Emotionally, I get to be in a different place. I get to be in a different position. What is that really looking like for you? You may not fully understand it because this is not yet a first quarter moon. So we're not in the full kind of like clarity, the full light, but it is turning more bright. Also, interesting, for the recent, over this moon cycle, I don't know what it is. I haven't been outside in the time frame that the moon has been active and in the sky for months now. And I didn't even realize it until the previous several days. I've been outside when the moon is outside. I was like, oh, I'm back on the moon ride. That seems pretty cool. I'm excited for that. So I can feel the shift. Shift in the gift is something I mentioned in the previous episode, and I've been feeling that. So if it's been a shift in the gift for you, the spiritual gift, the gifts that you walk in, the gifts that are being offered to you, shift in the gift coming through, it's feeling a little bit strange, a rearrange, okay? One of the things that Spirit said to me recently, because I was sitting talking to the spirits, I was sitting talking to the highest spirit, And for a while now, I've been saying, like, for the previous kind of like year and a half, I've been saying it's a change of seasons. Like, our seasons are changing. We're changing the seasons are changing. That's been the verbiage. That's been the words that I've been working in. And I know with the work that I do, kind of sitting with the collectives online, a lot of the times that is applicable for other people as well. But recently, with this new sort of energy coming into this year, coming out of Pluto and Capricorn, our nodes are about to switch over at the end of the month, and we're in this sort of transitionary place. The highest spirit as spirits, they were telling me, it was put on my heart, that we're starting a season of change. We're starting a season of change. Instead of it being the seasons changing, oh, here's a season, oh, here's a season, oh, here's a season. For me, it's like a couple months at a time. That's what I've been experiencing for about a year and a half. Oh, here's a season for a couple months. 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 Oh, here's another season for a couple of months. It's been kind of tiring, and I'm grateful we're entering a season of change, because now it's just going to be one great big long season where one thing changes, and then another thing changes, and another thing changes, instead of it being completely and totally different bubbles of different seasons. That was some information that was brought through for me on this Pisces moon, so I wanted to share that with you. This Pisces moon has also allowed me to just kind of step back into my practice in a different light and in a different energy. So if you're feeling that through the next couple of days, very valid. And also too, that gets me excited for what's going to happen with the North Node moving into Pisces. I'm like kind of looking forward to it now, actually, this switch over, because that North Node being in Pisces, I'm so looking forward to it, actually. If this is what it's going to feel like, if this is what it's going to feel like, what does this Pisces moon feel like for you? Look at me with my little crab hands. What the heck with the moon and the Cancer sign with the crab? That's what I feel like right now. We got the crab hands going. Thanks, moon. So silly. If you're not watching on a platform, you're just listening, that would, whatever. I had little crab hands going. It is what it is. So moving on forward. This tap into kind of like what's happening, what's shifting, what's changing within your emotions, within your practice, within the way that you study and your disciplines, how you're feeling about it, any new things you're bringing in, any old things you're revisiting that need to be brought in again when it comes to spirituality and your practices, because those changes are going to be what grounds when it comes to the North Node entering Pisces, South Node in Virgo as well, but more associated with and focused on the Piscean energy when we get to January 28th and that new moon in Aquarius on January 29th, and the nodes are switching over. We're starting a new cycle. That's a crazy day. We're more to say on that another time, but that right now, that's what we're moving with and grooving with that Pisces moon. Oh my goodness. I have a feeling there's going to be such an alleviation soon. And I'll leave it at that, because what we still got to get to the full moon in Cancer. You know, it is. Okay. Moving on through January 5th through the 7th, that's going to be our first quarter moon in Aries. Now, this is going to be with the North Node, and it is going to be with Chiron. This is going to be the final time that the moon is with Aries before we exit the North Node in Aries. There is an eclipse in Aries coming up in March. And also, this is it. This is it. What you got? What direction are you going in? This is the first quarter moon for me is a directional energy. I see now the clarity. I understand these things. It may not be in full light, but I have a decent amount of information. I have enough information to be able to say, this is my designation. This is my destination. This is my direction. This is maybe things I need protection in. This is maybe what I need to be working in. This is how I'm walking. This is how I'm talking. And with the North Node exiting Aries, this is a huge, so large shift. We are moving out of a new purpose of the mind and a new purpose of the self, a new purpose of activation. We're moving out of that very soon. So with everything that you've been receiving over the previous, when did it enter? It was like July of 2023, I'm pretty sure. So since then, it's like a year and a half is about the lunar node length. So over the previous year and a half, what new stuff in Aries energy? What have you started? What have you activated? Okay, because we're about to get going. We're about to leave. We're about to go somewhere else. So everything that we've activated, it's kind of coming to this point of like realizing a bigger picture direction. This moon, it could be, because Aries is sparks, right? It's the primal fire. It's the beginning. So it could be a little spark that you have to sit with and kind of feed. that is more short term, or things that are happening within like what's going on now. There's gonna be a lot revealed though if you're able to keep the sparks going, mentally shield, mentally wield, mentally be in your field, mentally be present as it needs to be. This moon in Aries, it's gonna be long term. There may be some questions still that you have on this moon, but you're going to have a grasp on why the heck you've been receiving the information that you've been receiving when it comes to your Aries placements over the previous, again, like year and a half and through our previous eclipses. We did have a new moon solar eclipse in Aries on April 8th of 2024. So if there's anything important that happened around that time, there's going to be, again, another big picture information happening before we get to the eclipse that's happening in Aries at the end of March. This moon is also going to help to give you some direction. What do I need to be doing from now until the end of March? What is it that I need to be focused on from now until the end of March? We have a lot of change. There's some things shifting. The North Node is shifting over. We're headed into Aquarius season with Pluto for the first time this year. We did have Aquarius season last year with Pluto, so this isn't the first Aquarius season we're seeing with Pluto in it. Grab that how you need to. And also, we're returning to that energy, and we're not going back into Capricorn this time, so it is going to feel a little bit different, but that's another shift that's coming up. What else is happening? Shifts. We just have a lot of different, like, lifts. There's a lot of things lifting up, being given light in the next couple of months. So that, make note for yourself. When I was talking about a year ago, it was a little less than a year ago, but for that April 8th new moon solar eclipse in Aries, one of the things I kept saying to people, I was like, write it down, write it down, make a note, write it down, put it on paper, do something for yourself to record the information. If you have a way to go back and look at what happened that day, or go back and remember, go back, and because Mercury was in Aries and it was retrograde, and retrogrades, I think I said this earlier, I'm going to say it again, are binding. So whatever information was coming through mentally for you during that eclipse, it bound you up in something. It bound you up in some sort of purpose, some sort of something purpose moving forward. So if you're able to return to it, or just remember for yourself, like, what has been happening in that area? What's been happening in my head? What's been going on in my mind? What have I been interested in? What have I been trying to find in my mind? What's the purpose that I've been given within my mental space and place, you know? If you're able to go back and look at that and really revere it, hear it, understand it, there's going to be a lot of really big information that comes through. It's like a lot of like aha moments. It's like a very, very large aha. I get it. Aha. I understand. Aha, 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 aha. Aha. Yes. And so understanding that for yourself is a big look at what's been and what's to come. Big look at what's been spun, what's been done. Big look at. A big look at. I don't know what you're going to be looking at, because it's going to be different for everybody, but that's going to be a big look at. Look at this. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Revere it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Okay. Moving on. Also, too, with that moon, we have Chiron that just went direct in Aries, so we're actually starting to move forward with some healing things rather than having to look at the past. Hopefully, it's a little bit easier on the heart space. Hopefully. So that's that. So January 6th, we also have Mars enters Cancer. That's an interesting crossover, in my opinion. This is an interesting thing that's happening. So we went over the first quarter moon in Aries. Mars is what rules Aries. And we have Mars that only retrogrades every 2 years, retrograding back into Cancer, which rules the moon at the same time that we have a first quarter moon in Aries, while the North Node is in Aries, which rules our long-term eclipse cycles. What are you doing, Mars? What are you doing, Mars? Mars, when it retrogrades, is really about our warriors coming home. It's a time of harvest. We're restructuring and reordering priorities. We're not necessarily in battle and war when Mars retrogrades, as long as, this is kind of the trick to Mars retrogrades, as long as you have everything taken care of where your Mars is in your chart. If you have, wherever Mars is in your chart, if your priorities are down pat, okay, you got them flat, they don't need any reassessment, and you're good, Mars retrograde is a time of rest, recovery, healing. Some love could come through, okay? It's a time where the warriors, the energy that is normally up and guarding and like keeping the pace and being on it all the time, that gets to rest a little bit. Personally, for me, that makes me feel just a little bit stressed because I like to be on it all the time. And you're asking me to sit down and recover and receive. When are we gonna leave? We still got a couple months. So actually, when does it go direct? Yeah, February 24th is when Mars goes direct. So it's, for me, as someone who has a lot of Scorpio and my Mars also rules my Saturn, and I have a bunch of Saturn stuff in my chart, Mars retrogrades, while I'm grateful for them, and I know that they serve their purpose, and I'm very grateful for that energy, it does make me a little bit uncomfortable to be this comfortable. Maybe that's a little bit of a trauma response I gotta work through, but you know what? Whatever, okay? I'm working on it as I need to work on it. Healing, not healed. Isn't the old trend of healing, not healed? It is what it is. Healing, not healed. Honestly, always healing. Do you know life? Do you know life? Have you seen life? Do you know what it gives us? Healing, not healed. I feel like to say that you are healed is like a shield. It's like, yeah, I've healed that. I've said that about so many things in my life. Yeah, I've healed that. Yeah, I've healed that. And then 2 years later, I'm back in the shadow of it. It's like, okay, well, just kidding. Just kidding. Thought I was right. Guess I was wrong. Thanks for reminding me that I can be strong. All right, so Mars retrograde entering Cancer. When it re-enters Cancer, now at the end of 2024, it was like November time, okay, October, November time. And also I'm pretty sure over the previous eclipse season. Let me just double check that for certain and for sure. Yeah, Mars was in Cancer for our previous eclipses. And when we were going over those previous eclipses, one of the things that I just wanted to like really press on, or really press on it, was the fact that in some of my content is the fact that Mars being in Cancer, our eclipse cycles, like during eclipse season, Mars is in Cancer, and the North Node, which is in the eclipse lunar nodes, was in Aries, is still in Aries right now, was in Aries during those eclipses though, and Mars ruling Aries and being in Cancer, so there's this like crossover of the moon and the lunar nodes naturally having their time together. Very easy, very clever to go together, okay? Very clever. Love the cleverness. Thank you, Mars. Thank you, Cancer. Thank you, the lunar nodes. Very clever to go together. So there's some prioritization, some priorities over those previous eclipses, the October 2nd one and September 17th, 18th time. Those previous eclipses of 2024, we are now able to return to them and look at our priorities and say, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I don't actually want that. Maybe I need to rethink some things. Maybe I don't actually need that. And I love this. We are not always offered that opportunity when it comes to eclipse cycles and eclipse energy. Sometimes we get little gifts from the planets, and it's like what normally happens isn't able to normally happen, and it's because we need there to be some sort of change. And this is one of those moments. So this Mars retrograding at the time that it is, and it's retrograding back into Cancer, we are making some really big, really large, really big shifts with our gifts. Again, the shift in the gift with our gifts, with our emotional gifts, with our spiritual gifts, with our long-term lifts. What are you lifting long-term? What is it that you're asking for long-term? Was there any intentions you set with those eclipses? Was there any work that you've been doing with the Aries and the Libra spaces? Also, our Pisces, this is an interesting crossover. Our Pisces eclipse is what was on September 17th. And then the moon kind of immediately moved into Aries. It was a quick shift. There's a quick shift from the eclipse, and then the rest of the full moon was in Aries. So it was that eclipse was a little different, but neither here nor there for this episode. In regard to that, the eclipse being in Pisces, and our North Node is about to move into Pisces. That happens where like the eclipses happen in a space where our lunar nodes are not yet or have been previously, and it's like not the lunar node that is right now. So I get that naturally will happen where we are kind of shifting in and out of the different lunar node spaces. And so the Pisces eclipse makes sense. It's gonna be interesting though. A shift in the gift, spiritual gifts shifting, priorities with those spiritual gifts shifting. And this is not just a spiritual gift. This is like your gift. You as a gift, yes. Your gift also, what are you creating for yourself? What are you like cooking up for yourself? What do you have boiling in the pot, okay? What is it that you're asking for? What is it that you're creating? It's creative energy, this creation energy. Again, if you're working with the spirits on something, or like, I don't normally use the word manifestation, but I know that there are people who do. It could be that kind of energy. I prefer the word creation because for me, this is a personal fundamental. For me, manifestation always makes me feel like I can just sit around and do nothing. It makes me very lazy. So I don't like that word on a personal level. But if you're using it, good for you, okay? If you have a healthy relationship with that word, beautiful. So that, in regard to that, that's why I don't use it. And also, if you use it, it could be that energy. For me, also, this could be like a weaving of fate. If you've been making offerings, if you've been doing any work or any spells, or you've been receiving any messages about cool stuff coming through your gift, okay? The gift, your gift. What you got going on? Tea time. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know. Let me know. Tell me. Let me know what you got going on. A gift. You're going to get a gift, okay? Shift in the gift. There's a shift in the gift. This is not a different gift. Not a different one. It's not splitting and becoming two, or like you're getting rid of one and now there's a new one. No. The old gift, what you were expecting, is now turning into something different. What you're expecting is now turning into something different. It's a shift in the gift. Creation, offerings, manifestations, sometimes we have to take turns with them. Sometimes we have to turn a little bit. Maybe it's not always so direct. It's not always so direct. So allow yourself to further inspect, okay? Because Mars retrograding into Cancer, shift in the gift. We got a lot of love to give in this Mars retrograding Cancer. A lot of love to give, even if you can only really give it to yourself. That is totally valid and totally fine. A lot of love to give though. Mars, right? Because Mars, if it's in Cancer normally and direct, it's like a crazy frenzied energy when it comes to our emotions. And that can lead to a lot of really like not great circumstances, to be honest with you. Sometimes it is great. It just really depends. So the fact that we have Mars retrograde in Cancer, it's like we're coming down and we're resting. Again, the warrior gets to come home. The warrior gets to rest. So we're prioritizing our emotions without there having to be this like battle or war front strategy energy. Like there's not a danger or a stranger danger. There's not a stranger danger in this sort of energy. And that means that there is going to be a turn, especially with Pluto being in Aquarius right now. And like the way that our bindings between people, like those are where exchanges are happening now, is within our social circles and social spaces and places. So that's where the gift could possibly be coming through. It's one of the possibilities and offerings. Okay, it doesn't have to be there, but we do need other people on the earth to relate to us, work with us, offer things to us so that we can give to them. We can give to them so that we can offer and receive. You know, circles and cycles. It's great. It's great. That is going to be our Mars retrograde in Cancer. Again, just kind of like note for yourself. Let yourself rest emotionally. Heal a little bit if you need to. Chiron is also still in Aries. So resting, healing, gorgeous, beautiful. Oh, I didn't even finish saying that yet. It's interesting to me. This is what I started with when I was talking about Mars retrograde, and I didn't wrap it up. I need to go back to that and wrap it up. It's interesting to me that Mars retrograding in Cancer is happening at the very same time that we have our moon first quarter in Aries with the North Node. And it's the final time before our nodes switch over. Some big information about, I don't have to fight anymore. It's the end. We're at the end of the lunar nodes being here. We're at the end. We're done with something. What victory have you won? Let us see the sun. Let us see the light. What victory have you won? And then let it be done. What victory? And then let it be done. And then let it be done. We're moving into more fun and more sun, more run, more getting things done. That also means that whatever you have been fighting, whatever the war is that you have been in, whatever the battle is, maybe it's not a war, that's a string of battles, you know, so maybe it's just one battle, valid also. Revere it how you need to, and you're through. That's really a big revelation and clarity when Mars starts to retrograde in Cancer on that 6th day. And that's also true. You know, the spirits told me to mark that day for myself, so I'll share that with you. I'll share that with you as well. I don't know why. Sometimes they give me dates and they're just like, there's an important thing happening. So that's one of them for me. So pay attention as you need to. That January 6th time. That's true. I'm grateful that that came to my mind. I needed that reminder. So that's January 6th. January 8th, we have Mercury enters Capricorn. This is, I have a feeling, going to be very refreshing. Okay, Pluto's not in Capricorn. I can't stop talking about it. Apparently, I'm gonna keep talking about it. So, you know, hang in there with me. Thanks. Pluto's not in Capricorn. So this is the first time in a while that we've had Mercury in Capricorn during a Capricorn season, and there's no Pluto. Talk about being actually able to express ourselves with our words and express ourselves with our language and actually share information that is detail oriented and not be judged for it, not be begrudged for it, not be belittled for it, not have it used against us or used over us. Oh, thanks. Thanks. That's a gift in and of itself. That's a gift in and of itself. That is a gift. Let it lift. That's a gift. That's a gift. That's a gift. Oh my goodness. We also too have that sun still in Capricorn right now. I don't know that I want to talk about that actually. Mercury in Capricorn is like, you're talking very detail oriented and you're like serious with your words and it's real structured and it's real detailed. There's honestly probably going to be a lot of information, and I mean a lot, because with Pluto not being in Capricorn anymore, we have the freedom to speak our mind and to have, we're not in a bind anymore. Pluto puts us in a bind, which is not always kind. Gotta love Pluto? Well, you don't have to. I do personally love Pluto. True. And also, Pluto puts you in a bind, and it's not always kind. So we've had a bind on our words and the expression and the information when it comes to Capricorn and systems and hierarchies, and Capricorn also being the shape-shifting magic of order. How order shapeshifts, how the structures shapeshift and change and alter. They're not in a bind anymore. So we have the ability to find the information we've been looking for basically all of 2024. All of 2024, okay? All year. What information were you trying to make clear for yourself? What information were you really needing to hear? What secrets did you need to hear? Was it internal secrets? Was it words from other people? Did you need to learn about what other people were saying about you, possibly behind your back? Were you curious about that? Was it able to not be revealed for some reason? Something concealed becomes revealed when Mercury moves into Capricorn and for that season. So just revere it how you need to. Let there be clearness around it. I don't know what it is for you. The itness, what it is. I do not know what that is for you. And let there be clarity. Let there be clarity. Let there be the words shared that need to be shared. Let there be the words cared that need to be cared. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. You know what? Thank you so much. I'm grateful for that. So very grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you. Lift it up. That sounds so good. That sounds great, actually. That sounds great. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I could use a little bit of that. I could use a little bit of easygoing communication energy when it comes to the details. Thank you. I want some of that. I want some of it. I need some of it. It feels like, it feels like I might need it more than I even understand in this moment, saying that out loud. I'm grateful for this amazing gift. It is amazing, actually. This is an amazing gift. It'll be a very interesting time of information coming through. Also, if you're someone who does work with order, structure in the Norse systems, this is just for reference of kind of more of a structure of gods. Capricorn is when Odin goes through and shapeshifts. So the stories of Odin shapeshifting. So if you find that you relate to that kind of magic very specifically, then that is going to be, there's going to be more information around that kind of shape-shifting, very detailed, very structured. It takes sort of a long time to do sometimes. That's true because we're humans, thank goodness. So it does take us a little bit longer than, the gods just automatically shape-shifting into another form. LOL. So, revere it how you need to. And if you're offering to either that god or other spirits that have to do with order and structure, there's more, like if you have a healthy relationship or a relationship, whether it's healthy or not is none of my business. That's also valid. If you have a relationship with the spirits of order and time and structure, however that works for you, there's gonna be a lot of messages, a lot of clearness and clarity that comes through. And it's like, what I see is just this hand, like you're just like kind of walking along and walking along and walking along and walking along, whatever it is that you're doing in your life. And then all of a sudden, there's a hand that comes down from the sky and kind of like plops you onto a cloud for a second. It's like, listen, we need to have a conversation. Not a bad conversation. Not a conversation of like, I mean, a serious, sure, maybe, possibly, depends on who you are and what you're working with, but it's a moment where it's like, okay, you get to see the big picture now. You get to see, here's the clarity. You've been asking for this, you've been waiting for it, you've been blind for a reason, and now here you are. Here you get the picture. We're gonna put you in the cloud. Here's the bird's eye view. Here's the look down on everything that you've been through. We're gonna give you the truth. Oh God, seriously? The truth? Oh my God, why? Sometimes the words, I don't need to know why until I get there. Let me just sit with it. Sometimes the words that come out of my mouth, listen, I don't plan that, okay? I don't plan that. The truth, you're gonna give us the truth, the truth, the truth. After everything I've seen, the truth? I get the truth? Do I want it? I'll revere it. I don't think it matters if I want it, actually. That's the feeling I get right now. It doesn't matter if you want it or not, at least for me. I'm gonna sit with it. Okay, the truth. There it is. I'll receive it. I'll receive the truth. I'll receive the truth. Probably if the truth is coming through, I need to know. I don't know information just because they're going to show it to me. Keep me blind if I don't need to see it. Thank you. In love, truth, free, elevation, honor, glory, gratitude, and reverence. Yes. Keep me blind if I don't need to see it. And also, if there needs to be clarity, let there be the truth. I'm grateful for that, honestly. Because it's also like, I also see someone weeping. It's like, here's the truth. Cry about it. Here's the truth. It's not weeping as in like pain, and not a painful tear. Not a painful tear here. No. That's not the energy that I feel around this. I feel very, very, it's like a sacred tear. It's a sacred tear. You know the statues they have of like the sacred figures with the tears? It's like a fountain, the fountains. I guess that would be a fountain. I wouldn't consider it a fountain, but maybe I do now. A statue that has tears running down its face, but it's like a sacred thing. That's the image that I get for this, is like there's like sacred tears. It's like you finally understand. Here are the truths that you have asked to receive. Here are the truths. You ever looked up in the sky and just been like, why? I cannot tell you how many times I have looked up into the sky and cried and asked why. Sometimes I've looked up in the sky and been angry and been like, why? Why are you doing this to me? What's the point of this? I've already got some of these little truths coming through. You know, the new moon in Capricorn happened. We're in Capricorn season, so we're starting to get these revealings. Mercury in Capricorn, though, is like the unleashing of the information. It's the unleashing, the uncaging, the unbinding. Interesting. And there'll be a rewinding also. A rewinding? Oh, okay. Interesting. Like hit the tape rewind, go back in time, look at it. I don't know what it is. Again, I don't know what it is for you, but go back and look at it. Look at what you've been through. Look at it. Rewind also is in like winding, like a wind up kind of thing. So it's like go back and rewind, and also like we're going somewhere else now. So like rewind what you've been through. Rewind it, and don't forget. Rewind it and don't forget. Just sit. Rewind it and don't forget. Sit, revere, clear. No more painful tears here. I'm grateful for that. I haven't the words to describe the tears of pain I have cried. I haven't the words to describe the painful tears I have cried. And now the spirits are telling us, because here you are sitting with me. Thank you for being here with me. Telling us, no more painful tears. Thank you for facing your fears. I'm grateful I faced my fears. Wherever you're at in that journey, I'm grateful you're facing your fears too. You know what? Because fear sometimes is a tool that's used to rule. Fear sometimes is a tool that's used to rule. It's used to control people, guide people, lead people, hurt people. But fear, it's a sacred, primal being. Fear is a sacred care. It's full of care. It's a careful being. It reminds you to be careful. It cares about you. That's why it shows up. It's like, hey, there's this thing that you probably need to be afraid of. Fear. So be careful. Fear, at least in my relationship with fear, is a loving spirit. It can be. Fear can be a loving spirit. And fear in our world that we live in so oftentimes is used to sell things, and it's used to hurt people, and it's used to manipulate structures and systems. I revere fear. I'm so grateful for fear. And I'm grateful for that fear's mother. I'm grateful for fear's mother. Whoever it is that birthed fear, thank you, because we need fear. We need fear in a sacred, primal being, as a human, as an ancestor walking free on this earth. Fear is allowed to be here, and I'm grateful for the relationship that I have with fear. What a courageous thing. What a courageous thing it is to be able to revere fear. So if you've been doing that work to revere fear, thank you too. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you, because this is one thing I've been saying recently. I've said it in other episodes. I've said it in other spaces, and it is applicable here again. I don't mind repeating myself. Sometimes it needs to be. So I'm gonna repeat myself. It takes everybody. It takes everybody. It takes everybody. If you've been doing the work to revere fear, other people around here probably have been doing that too. And that means that together we are lifting up fear. We're saying, yes, fear, I love you here. I love you, dear. Thank you for loving me too. Thank you for reminding me what it is that I need fear for. Thank you for reminding me how to care about myself and love the people around me and love the spaces and the places and the practice that I keep. It takes everybody. If I feed fear and revere fear and love, it's gonna elevate fear into that position to be able to do that for other people. Same thing for you. I love magic. I really do. Oh, so good. It's so good. I love you, magic. I love you, magic. I love you, magic. Okay, before we get into that, I want to move on to the next one. So Mercury enters Capricorn. Mercury enters Capricorn. That's going to be all that information I was talking about a second ago. Okay, so let's take a turn. Let's make a shift, because then January 8th through the 9th, we have the moon in Taurus with Uranus retrograde. Now, Uranus retrograde, if you're someone who has a lot of Pluto influence in your chart, you're tapped into those more subtle influences and subtle energies. Let's talk about it. Okay, one of the things I've been noticing, this is going to be more big picture with Uranus retrograde. One of the things I've been noticing with Uranus retrograde is everything that has been done, the orders that have been spun, are coming to a close. We're done now. We're done now. And there's been a repetitive, repeating order of something that's been done before that's showing up symbolically now, but is smaller to remind me or revere in my practice and space that it's done. It's like it's grounding, but it's grounding in a way that is it's very small, very just right here, instead of it being this huge experience that I'm going through. So with Uranus retrograde, we are wrapping up everything that has been before we begin again. When does Uranus go direct? Let's check. Oh, Uranus goes direct on the 30th. Curious, interesting. We have the nodes shift. We're not going to get too into this, but we have the nodes shift on the 28th of January. And then we have a new moon in Aquarius on the 29th of January. And then we have Uranus, which rules Aquarius, going direct on the 30th. That's going to be, the end of January is going to be crazy. Those couple of days, oh my goodness. That's going to be a big shift. We're not quite there yet, though, so let me not get too strung up on that. Okay. Uranus retrograde, though, we're going through closings. Even though the moon is going into more light right now, and we're after that first quarter moon when the moon is in Taurus, again, dates for that, where are we at? January 8th through the 9th. So even though we're in more light, we're headed to the full moon, this is like a bright sunny afternoon where you can sit and rest and digest. Oh, I have been doing that. Oh, I am done. Oh, everything has been spun. Oh, actually, I got it. Oh, actually, I did it. Oh, actually, I got it. Oh, actually, yeah, I did that. I got it. Actually, yeah, I did it. Actually, yeah, congrats. Actually, yeah, whoa, actually, yeah, oh, wow. Who, me? Yeah, you, congrats. That's great. So sit with that as you need to. Close out anything emotionally that could be coming up, or maybe rather not close it out. And also it's an offering of an opportunity to sit with the emotion so that you can close out some stuff and just be like, yeah, congrats. Yeah, congrats. Cool. Congrats. Congratulations. I don't know what your congratulations is for, but you made it through. So congratulations. Done for you. Good. Good for you. We're about to go into something new, so close it out. Close it out. January 10th through the 11th, our moon is going to be in Gemini with the Jupiter retrograde, again headed up to the moon in Cancer, which is where the moon is going to be full. So lots of light. Jupiter retrograde, interesting, processing of our seeds. It's like information. We're not getting the full picture of the information sometimes. We're not getting the full essence of what's happening. Oh, and the crossover. Oh, that's going to be a crazy crossover. That's going to be a crazy crossover. Didn't even see that till just now with Mercury moving into Capricorn. Mercury rules Gemini, which means Mercury in Capricorn is going to be ruled by a Saturn in Pisces. Spiritual words, Saturn in Pisces. Spiritual, Mercury in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn in Pisces, spiritual words, spiritual information, okay? And that Mercury in Capricorn is going to be ruling over our Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. Holy wow. Oh my God. Hold on. I need a moment for that one. Whoa. Whoa. Hello. Talk about truth. I was talking about truth earlier. Now I get it. Now I understand. Why? We get to know why. We get to understand why. Why? I'm sad. Tell me. I want to know why. I'm sad. I'm sad. I'll rest with that. Okay, so Moon in Gemini with Jupiter retrograde. This one is going to be a lot of it's like emotionally fulfilled understandings. Emotionally fulfilled understandings. And hopefully there's way more joy, honestly, for you during this moon, maybe than other places, spaces, or seasons. Lifting it up, gifting it up. Moon in Gemini, usually it's yappy, it's chatty. We're talking about our emotions, yap, chat. But with that spiritual influence of the words being very detailed, it's going to be, if you're someone who sits with the spirits and has like some form of communication, spiritual communication, if you are someone who it's very different for every single person. So, discern for yourself how that might fit into your life and your practices. This moon in Gemini, again, January 10th through the 11th, that's going to be a time to really sit in the work, receive the messages, talk. You might not have to talk, honestly. The spirits might be yapping, talking. Spirits like to talk. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're very silent. Sometimes they like to talk though. So this is a time, it's like, the image I get for this is like, if you've been trying to talk on the phone, you ever been trying to talk on the phone with somebody and it just keeps disconnecting? That's the most annoying thing, in my opinion. That's like one of my big pet peeves. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. There's nothing you can do about it. It just keeps disconnecting. Oh, that really rubs me the wrong way. I don't like that. I don't like when that happens. It's really frustrating. I can't stand it. Okay, so you ever had that happen? Okay. It's like we've been trying to talk to the spirits somehow like that, but it's like we can only get part of the conversation. We can't get the whole thing because for whatever reason, like the phone just keeps disconnecting and coming back in and cutting out and cutting in and cutting out. During the moon in Gemini though, with Jupiter retrograde, all the spiritual influence, Saturn being in Pisces and Mercury being in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, Pisces. Okay, the layers of it. It's I get this image of like the spirits being like, okay, well, can you hear me now? And then it finally clicks. It's like the phone stops shifting. The phone stops. You got it. There's actually a line of communication without there being, how do I explain that? There's just it's like an open line of communication. Open line of communication. Interesting. That's going to be interesting information. Huh. Since it's Capricorn, it may be secrets you need to keep. Don't put them to sleep. Don't put them to sleep. Keep them awake for you. How you need to. And also, with Pluto not being in Capricorn anymore, we have a lot of secrets being revealed. That's a part of it. So just make sure that if there's anything you need to shield, you do that. If there's anything you need to shield, wield the shield. The shield is also a weapon, okay? Wield the shield if you need to. Shield it. Field it. Shield it as necessary and needed. Congratulations. Keep a secret. Keep it secret, keep it sacred. Keep it sacred, keep it secret. However you need to do that. That's going to be interesting. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Actually, that's going to be a good moon. That's going to be a good moon. Thanks, Gemini. Thanks, Jupiter. Huh. Okay. January 12th through the 13th, our moon is in Cancer. Now, here is the part of the show that I'm really, really practicing for. What is it that you've been practicing for? What have you been practicing for? For me, end of war. I'll reveal some of that, you know. Sometimes keep a secret, sometimes talk about it. Discernment, you know, it is. Yeah, for me, that's the end of war. After everything I've been through, after all the people who betrayed me, after all the hard lessons, after all the work I've asked of myself and then did, hard stuff, yo. Hard stuff. A lot of big payments. There's worse in the world, though. That's one thing I gotta remind myself. There's worse things that happen. So, with everything I've been through, though, it's been years and years and years and years. One onslaught after the other. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's like I get up and immediately the spirits knock me back down. That's been happening for years now. For years now. So for me, what I've been practicing for is the end of that war. To speak a little bit more specifically on it. Whatever it is that you have been practicing for, big picture, long term, okay? Because again, this is a new moon. This full moon in Cancer is in a cycle and in a season where the new moon is ruled by Capricorn. And this is the first new moon in Capricorn where we have not had Pluto for 17 years. So long term, really long term. What have you been working in, leaving, weaving, understanding, revealing, healing, concealing possibly as well? For you, before the full moon, and when this moon comes through, because the full moon is not until January 13th at 22:26 UTC time. Yep. So what do we got on that? Would be like 10:26 p.m. UTC time. So translate for yourself into your time zone as necessary and needed. It's towards the end of Cancer, though. It's towards the end. The sun is getting towards the end of Capricorn, which means the full moon will be exact at the end of Cancer because they're in the opposite positions. So we're at the end of something. We are at the end. The secrets of our story are revealed to us. We are through. We're through. We're finished. We're finally done. We are finally done. We're finally done. If you are also someone who is going through war energy, the war is won. It's done. You're allowed to be through. It's allowed to be done. Things are allowed to see the sun. No more shame. No more blame. This is also a moon. Look how far you came. Look how far you came. If Mercury in Capricorn picks us up and puts us in the sky and gives us a bird's eye view of everything we've been through, and we get to understand why. This full moon asks us to lift up. Do we lift up even higher than this? What's the vision for this? It's like we're brought back down to earth. This full moon, that's really kind of what's happening. This full moon brings us back to the earth. A time of giving birth. Interesting. Coming back to the earth, a time of giving birth. If you've been, listen, as someone who is mother energy around them in their practice, that's one of the things that I work in and with. Spiritual birth is very different than that of our physical labor. It's similar. It's still a birth, okay? Birthing process and practices, regarded, revered. Also sometimes a little weird. Love you, fate. That's true. This is a time of giving birth. What are you birthing? What's the labor been like? Labor, a lot of the times we press on the gas and we have to pull it back a little bit. We press on and we pull back. We press on and we have to rest for a moment. So if there's anything that you have been under attack with, anything that has been pushing you back, pulling you back, wishing on your downfall, wishing for you not to answer your call, your purpose, your calling. This makes me want to cry. Your purpose, your calling. On this moon, not only are you going to understand why, but you're finally going to be able to look yourself in the eye and say, I know why. I know why. It's an assuredness. It's a maturedness, the maturity that you've received through this process. matureness, assuredness. There's a large reverence. A large reverence. It's almost like holy. I don't know. If you're someone who works with holy and the holiness, it's almost holy. I see someone in a room surrounded by candles. It's like they've entered a temple or a sacred space, sacred building, surrounded by candles and just sitting, reverent, to sit and be reverent, to sit and to give reverence, to sit and to offer honor, and be reverent and give the spirits the space to rest. You're a spirit too. This reminds me, this energy for me has kind of already been coming through. And one of the things I've realized in this energy is it's very akin and similar to when we hold space for the dead. When people are giving, wow, I do want to cry. When people are giving reverence to those who have passed and we have moments of silence for them, our full moon in Cancer asks us to do that. It asks us to give reverence to everything that we have lost. People, everything that death has taken from us, jobs, housing, opportunities, money, places, friendships, love, relationships, things that we hold valuable and cherished in our lives. Everything that death has offered to take from you, this moon asks that we sit and we revere that process, that we revere that we have been in those death periods, that we have been revered also in those death periods by death. Thank you, death. That we have been able to honor and give reverence to our places of past, to our places of rest, to our places of stress, to our places of receiving. And then when this moon is through, we lift ourselves up and we are leaving. We lift ourselves up and we are leaving. So this is a moment for us to really rest and to not be stressed, to sit and rest and revere. I have made it here. Wherever here is for you. That's true. I have made it here. I have made it here. I revere how I made it here. I revere the process of how I made it here. I revere the spirits who ushered me in to this place, space, building, reverence. Because if you're arriving somewhere, you've been ushered there from somewhere, someone, something. Give it a ring, Give it a ring. If you've been in the reverence, the offerings, the gratitude attitude, the gratitude, the revering. We're lifting ourselves up, we're revering, and then we're reappearing. After we're reappearing. We are reappearing. I'm back in life again. I live in the world again. I'll lift my gift again. I'll go and live again. I'll offer some more again. I'll lift. Whatever it is that you lift. It's an honor to lift. The lifting of the gift, lifting of the heart, the lifting of the mind, the lifting of the spirits, the lifting of the practice, the lifting of the families, the lifting of the ancestors, the lifting of the gods. The lift. How are you lifting? What are you lifting? Lift. After our full moon in Cancer, we're returning to the lift. Lift me up. Lift me up. Reminds me of a kid being putting their hands up in the sky and being like, Mom, lift me up. Lift me up. It's time to get up. It's time to get up. That's one thing I put. Again, I haven't published this episode yet, the special episode for 2025. So when that comes out, there's a moment in 2025 where we are asked to get up. It's like February time. I'm not going to get too into it in this episode because we're going over the weekly stuff, but it's the mom energy coming through, being like, all right, well, it's time to get up now. You got to get up. We got stuff to give you, and you can't have that if you're not up. You got to get up. You can't. I mean, I guess you could. It's like Christmas presents in bed. You could have Christmas presents in bed, but isn't it a little bit more fun to go sit under the tree? You got to go to the tree. You have places to be, and you got to get there. There's where the receiving is. So we got to get up, lift up. So the lifting again starts after this full moon. Lift it up, lift it up, lift it up, lift it up, gift it up, lift it up. A reverence through and true. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you. That's so true. I'm reminded every single day that there are secrets that people keep that we don't know. There's so many people in the world, and there's so many practices. There's so many spirits. There's so many gods. There's so many religions. There's so many structures of work that people are in. And there's so many different ways that people are led on the path of spirit. There's so many people who are working in spirit and doing it so differently than anything that I do or that you do. It's crazy to me to think about that. And it does take each and every single one of us. So for you, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the work that you do. I'm grateful you're on the path, because this is one of the things I've really been thinking about, and I've been revering it. I know I've said it in other episodes, and I will say it again here. It does take each and every one of us. Every time you go and lift your gift in the spirit and you lift the spirits, you lift them. You lift them. You give life to them. You lift them and give life to them, which means that they're going to be more alive for other people too. You are gifting people you don't even know. You're gifting people you haven't ever seen. When you go lift your gift and you give to others, yeah, I guess that's true. When you give to others, when you give to other people, it might not even be the spirits. It could be other people. It could be the animals. Maybe you're making offerings in nature. Maybe you're going and spending time. Maybe you're gardening. Who knows? Whatever it is that you're doing, I don't. That's true. However it is that you do that, when you lift that gift, it lifts up the spirits. It lifts up the spirits, and it helps them get up. It helps them get up. And that means that they're able to be around for other people who need help. You don't even realize you're doing it. Maybe now you do. I didn't before this message started coming through for me. That's true. Perspective, perspective. A change of directive, perspective. You lift it up. You lift up. It takes every single one of us. We keep the spirits fed. We keep magic fed. It'll be easier for each and every single one of us to receive. It does. It takes each and every single one of us. It takes each and every single one of us. So I'm grateful for you and the work that you do. I am. I'm grateful for you and the work that you do. Grateful for you and the work that is true. I'm grateful for you and the work that you do. So keep up your brew. Keep your work. Whatever it is that you do, however it is that you lift. Sometimes resting is a lift too. So discern for you if that is true and how it is, if it is. And I'm grateful for you. 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 Okay, let me let it rest then. Because otherwise I'm just going to keep saying it. And I feel like, let me let it rest then. You know what? Let me let it rest then. Gratitude, reverence, and love to the spirits that are free and who do elevate me in love, truth, and free. And I'll leave it be. Thank you for following me on the internet. Thank you for revering the practice that I keep. And thank you for the practice that you keep too. I'll keep doing what I need to do. I'll keep up my brew. That's true. I revere it. Let them hear it. I revere it. I revere it. I revere it. And so now let's clear it. I will talk to you soon.